Mustafa! Mustafa! Mustafa, 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 gum, 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 gum. Allah bak.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, along with Parliament Speaker and Turkish political ruling and opposition party leaders and representatives, arrived at the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus to celebrate Cyprus Peace Operation. The Peace and the Freedom Parade took place north of the Green Line, which separates northern Cyprus, where Turkish Cypriots protected by Turkey reside and have established their state in 1983, from southern Cyprus, the Greek part of the island. Erdogan renewed his support for the two-state solution, saying we can go nowhere by ignoring realities on the island. He reassured that sitting on the negotiation table can only happen through the recognition of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
We believe a federal solution is not possible in Cyprus. To date, the Turkish Cypriots and Turkey have been the sincere parties striving for a solution, making sacrifices, taking risks, and showing their commitment.
President Erdogan expressed Turkey's readiness to negotiate and discuss to achieve a lasting peace and a solution to the conflict, adding the Greek Cypriot side is clearly not showing an intention for sharing power or natural resources with Turkish Cypriots. Cyprus has been divided since 1974, when Turkish forces intervened following a coup by Greek Cypriot nationalists aimed at unifying the island with Greece. The conflict led to the establishment of a UN buffer zone known as the Green Line, which separates the island till today.
Subsequent developments have shown that establishing a federal state on the island is currently unlikely. President Erdogan reiterated during Saturday celebrations that efforts to make the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus a separate state will continue, and he will do his utmost to achieve this. The irony here is that both Northern and Southern Cyprus are NATO members, with Southern Cyprus being an EU member, which makes the situation even more complicated.
Numerous attempts have been made over the decades for the reconciliation of two states since 1974, most notably the Annan Plan in 2004. The plan was supported by Turkish Cypriots but rejected by the Greek Cypriots in a referendum. In May 2004, the EU rushed to admit the Cypriot part of the island into the bloc. Today, Cyprus remains divided, with the Republic of Cyprus governing the southern part of the island recognized internationally and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
Pakistan has agreed in principle to ban products and companies affiliated with Israel due to ongoing war crimes by Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip. Also, the Pakistani government has announced the formation of a committee to identify companies and products linked to Israel.
Israel has emerged as a terrorist entity, with Netanyahu committing war crimes and being a terrorist. We will ensure that not only Israel but also any products associated with it or companies that directly or indirectly support Israel and its forces in any form will be boycotted, and the use of their products will be banned.
The decision comes after a week-long sit-in protest by pro-Palestine activists in Islamabad, who forced the government to meet their demands by blocking the busy Faizabad interchange, a critical traffic junction connecting key cities with the capital. Their demands included officially boycotting pro-Israeli products, sending humanitarian aid, and declaring Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu a terrorist. Social media campaigns and public figures have also voiced their support for this boycott, urging consumers to choose alternative products.
The whole nation should, on one voice, do the boycott of all the products and all the companies which are supporting Israel, number one. Number two, there should be a corridor for aid. There should be a corridor which should be initiated by the facilitation of OIC. And OIC must take part in it to help to facilitate this corridor so that food can go in, so that water can be provided to the needy and poor children and women who are dying every day.
Islamabad has also announced plans to send doctors, paramedical staff, and volunteers to help Palestinians affected by the Israeli genocide in Gaza.
In a move that isn't entirely unexpected, Turkey has called for normalization of ties with Syria. Turkish President's recent call for a meeting with his Syrian counterpart has sparked renewed hope for reconciliation. Damascus has responded with cautious optimism and has made it clear that any dialogue must respect Syrian sovereignty and territorial integrity.
We have approached this with positivity, but we haven't seen results due to a lack of political will. We asked what the basis for this meeting would be. Would it be to end the causes of the problem, which are the support for terrorism and the occupation of Syrian territory? This is the core of the issue. There's no other reason. We seek to achieve results through our actions, and we're not against any initiative or meeting. The important thing is to reach positive outcomes that benefit both Syria and Turkey.
Analysts believe that this shift in Turkish foreign policy is the result of years of sacrifices and resilience by the Syrian people, the victories of the Syrian Arab Army, and the unwavering support of Syria's loyal allies.
Turkish statements are gaining new momentum due to the country's internal changes and Ankara's need to rearrange its position within new regional and international variables, especially with what is happening in Palestine and the desire of regional countries to restore stability. Therefore, countries like Russia, Iran and Iraq have been working since 2017 to restore Syrian-Turkish relations.
Syrians believe that improved ties with neighboring countries will lead to economic prosperity and enhanced security.
Syrian-Turkish rapprochement is welcomed by Syrians, who will be happy to see the return of ties to its peak before 2011. It was a success back then, especially in economy, trade, industry and border crossings. Citizens of both countries were able to cross without a visa.
President Assad has affirmed that Syria will not set preconditions for the negotiations with Turkey, but have said that the country will rely on principles and requirements consistent with international law.
South Koreans, together with Palestinian supporters from around the world, have rallied to condemn Israel's July 13th massacre of Palestinian civilians at a so-called safe zone in the southern Gaza city of Khan Yunis. Activists also decried the South Korean government's continued cooperation with Israel.
We can't contain our anger against the Yoon Suk-yeol government, which joins hands with Israel, smeared with the blood of Palestinians.
South Korea has tried to avoid taking sides. At the United Nations Security Council in April, South Korea voted for full UN membership for Palestine. At the same time, the government here seeks to enhance cooperation with Israel, hosting Korea-Israel Innovation Day just days after the latest Israeli massacre of Palestinians. Hyundai, Samsung, and other South Korean companies still seek to deepen their trade with Israel, despite the negative PR that may involve.
Shame on those who have abandoned Palestine and collaborate and normalize relations with the criminal, fascist, Zionist, Israeli regime.
People around the world are calling for governments to change their policy to force Tel Aviv to stop its genocidal campaign in Gaza.
All governments around the world should be considering Israel's actions and behaving in response to that, which would be to put extreme pressure, whatever they can do, but put extreme pressure on Israel to end this war and stop the killing.
This is the 44th protest of people in solidarity with Palestinians here, and they plan an intensive day of action on South Korea's National Liberation Day, August 15th. Frank Smith, Press TV, Seoul.
For the people who are suffering under this genocide. They're some of the bravest people. So we want justice, you say how? We want justice, you say how? End the occupation now. End the occupation now. Hands off Palestine. Hands off Palestine. Hands off Gaza. Hands off Gaza. Hands off Rafah.
Get out!